Love it, hate it, but you've probably heard of it. Ginny and Georgia is a Netflix original series that started in 2021. It focuses on the story of Georgia, who is a woman in her 30s, her daughter Ginny, whom Georgia had when she was 16, and then Austin, whom Georgia had when she was in her early 20s. Georgia has had a very troubling and unstable youth, and now in her 30s, she will do anything to protect her kids by all means necessary. Because of this, they've had to move a lot, and sometimes Georgia has broken the law, to say the least. In season 1, they arrived to Wellsbury, a fictional town in the state of Massachusetts. Season 3 was released on June 5th, 2025, and all of these seasons 1, 2, 3 take place during the academic year of 2021 to 2022. I started watching Ginny and Georgia last year. Yes, I know season 1 dialogue between teenage characters, yes, it's very cringy at times. Twitter had a field trip about that when the series dropped, but I got through that. Season 2 was better, and then season 3 was actually excellent TV in my opinion. And there was one plot line that I thought was really well made and worth a discussion. Obviously, this video will contain spoilers for the whole series, especially season 3, and I will be discussing reproductive health and reproductive rights as it relates to this subplot that I'm going to discuss. So in season 3, Georgia is on trial for murder, and this is obviously a very stressful time for the whole family. It gets even more stressful when Georgia is separated from her kids. Ginny and Austin go on to live with their respective dads. Ginny moves in with Zion, her dad, and is obviously annoyed and hurt by the situation. And it doesn't help that she's being haunted at school for this murder trial that her mother is going through. And since, Ginny has been going through a lot, she's been very stressed, feeling very deeply traumatized by all of this, and she already has existing mental health issues. It's a really hard time for her. And she tries something new. She tries to let loose, have fun, forget about everything. Zion had signed up Ginny for a Monday poetry class after school because Ginny really loves writing poetry and has used it as an outlet for her mental health struggles. There she meets Wolf, and they kind of start seeing each other and hanging out. It's nothing serious. Then Wolf invites Ginny to a party and they have sex there. Later on, Ginny's friend Nora is worried about her period being late, so all of the friend group, Max, Ginny, Ali, and Nora, all take pregnancy tests, and for all of them, they are negative. Ginny says that hers is also, except that it isn't negative, it is positive. Ginny is obviously very confused, very distracted, very in her own world, and she doesn't really know who to talk to. She tells Wolf, and Wolf is like, wow, that's wild. Anyways, gotta go, which was crazy. She then opens up to Max when Max sees that she is struggling, and Ginny tells her that she really needs to talk to her mom, but she isn't allowed to see her at this moment. So Max creates a scene that causes distraction to the journalists outside of Georgia's home and sneaks into her home. And Georgia knows right away. At first, she is a bit angry, but then she realizes that this is not what Ginny needs right now. Georgia is there for her daughter. She offers emotional support and tells Ginny that she has to make that decision on her own if she will keep the baby or have an abortion. She tells Ginny that she does not regret having her at 16, but also notes that becoming a parent at such a young age can be really difficult. Ultimately, Ginny decides to have an abortion. Once more, they check that she is pregnant, and she is. Georgia books her an appointment for the termination of the pregnancy for the same day. I don't know how accurate that is, if it's possible to have a same-day abortion in the state of Massachusetts in 2022, but she does. And she wants to go with Ginny, but obviously can't because she's one, on house arrest, and two, shouldn't even be with Ginny without supervisor. So Ginny goes to the clinic alone. Ginny arrives at the clinic and talks to a medical professional who talks her through it, makes sure that Ginny knows what she's doing, and makes sure that Ginny is making her own decision. She is then given the medicine that she needs to terminate the pregnancy. After leaving the room, she sees Marcus, basically her ex. They're friends, they're in love with each other, but they're not like together in this moment, but they are very much in love. He came because Georgia asked him to. Georgia thought that Ginny should not be alone in this moment, and they go have ice cream, and Marcus is there for her. Ginny arrives home to Georgia, and they kind of cuddle on the couch, and she starts going through the termination of the pregnancy. She goes through painful cramps, but Georgia is there for her for emotional support. Later on, Zion comes pick Ginny up. Ginny hadn't told her dad about it. She did not feel comfortable, but after talking to Zion, Zion reassured Ginny that she can talk about things like that to him as well. Then later on, Wolf apologizes Ginny for his poor reaction, and then Ginny responds with saying that she has taken care of it and that they were never really serious, though maybe they should stop seeing each other, but Wolf really likes Ginny. So that's really how it was handled. At first I thought that Ginny has so much going on in her life, and when this subplot began, I was like, no, not this, come on, she has so much going on. But I really love the way they handled it. Now, why do I think this subplot was relevant to our world today? So at first, Georgia is angry with Ginny, but quite quickly forgets about her anger. She's mostly worried and realizes that that's not what Ginny needs, that she needs someone who supports her through this. And they talk about it. They talk about, like I said, Georgia mentioned that she does not regret having Ginny at 16, but that it's difficult to become a parent at such a young age, and that Ginny has to make this decision on her own. I feel like the discussions they had really humanized Ginny and humanized people who become accidentally pregnant and don't know what to do with it, and then ultimately decide to have an abortion. Oftentimes people dehumanize and demonize people who have abortions as murderers. So I thought this conversation and showing Ginny as vulnerable really was so humanizing, and they handled it very delicately. As the show takes place from autumn 2021 to early 2022, spring of 2022, Roe v. Wade has not been overturned yet. Georgia books Ginny an appointment for the termination of the pregnancy. At the appointment, they made sure that Ginny's worries and thoughts were heard, and she received the support that she needs. Now that Roe v. Wade has been overturned in the US, states themselves decide what type of abortion laws they will have, and they vary very much state to state. The show takes place in Massachusetts, where abortion remains legal and protected. But some states have very strict abortion laws, some even forbid it completely. Making abortion illegal in some states have led to 63 million women and girls living in states where abortion is not legal. Maternal and infant death rates are higher in states that ban or restrict abortion, as per 2022 article on CNN. In that article, Howard continues that death rates among women who are in reproductive age 15 to 44 were 34% higher in states which have strict abortion laws / abortion has been made illegal. And obviously Black women especially are at the highest risk of maternal death. While I was watching this subplots on Ginny and Georgia, it reminded me of this incredibly deeply upsetting case that happened in Georgia, if you have not heard of it. Adriana Smith, a 30-year-old woman who was already a mother, went to get help in February of 2025 when she was struggling with intense headaches. She did not get any scans or really any treatment. She was just given medicine and told to go home. The next day, she had some kind of seizure. They went to the hospital and the doctors found out that she had several blood clots in her brain. She was declared brain dead later that day. At the time, Adriana Smith was 9 weeks pregnant. And because of Georgia's ban on abortion after 6 weeks, they forcibly kept her alive on life support because she was 9 weeks pregnant when she was declared brain dead. Just let that fucking sink in. Adriana Smith, a brain dead woman, was forcibly kept alive because she had a fetus of 10 weeks, 9 weeks inside of her. The baby was born prematurely at 6 months. The baby weighed less than a kilogram. And after a few days, since they had this cesarean, she was taken off of life support. The hospital did not share how they maintained life inside of the womb, how they made sure the baby developed inside of her womb. It makes me so angry that her pain and her worries were not taken seriously and that she was not allowed a dignified passing. And it has been widely researched and studied. Women, especially black women, are not taken seriously at health clinics for their health issues and for their concerns. Adriana Smith, being black, not given the help that she needed, she could be alive today, but she's not. I just cannot imagine the amount of trauma and just how horrible it must have been to her family and her small child whom she had already, to forcibly keep her alive so that she can give birth. I hate it so much. And again, I want to emphasize that this case shows that if she was offered more care than just medication, she would still be here. And she probably could have had that baby. Maybe not. But it's so disgusting how quickly her pain and concerns were dismissed. And don't get me wrong, reproductive rights, abortion rights are an issue that we continue to fight for outside of the US as well and worldwide. Yes, many countries have taken steps forward for more liberation in abortion rights and reproductive rights, but there is still much work to do and the change is happening very slowly. For example, my own country, Finland, had a very strict abortion law up until 2023. So previously, if one wanted to have an abortion, it had to be in specific conditions. It had to be thoroughly argued for. You had to get the permission of 2 doctors, and the father of the fetus had to have a say in it too. Now, since 2023, you only need the request of the person who wants to have an abortion. But the fight for reproductive rights still continues. This is why I thought the subplot in Ginny and Georgia was so crucial in this moment, as it humanizes the person having the abortion. It is notable that Ginny is black, she's mixed race, and it is shown how she has these difficult feelings about being pregnant, but then ultimately she is treated as a human. Her concerns and worries and questions are taken seriously, something that a real black woman, Adriana Smith, was not allowed. And it also showed that Ginny wasn't having this abortion just, for the lulz, just to have fun, like sometimes people who have abortions have been depicted as. It's a very delicate matter. And yes, for some people, abortion may not be as taxing, but in many cases, it's not just a light decision you make for the fun of it. You don't have an abortion just for the sake of it. You usually have thought about it thoroughly. It deeply impacts the person's mental health and even physical health. And while I know a subplot on Netflix will not change the world, I really hope it can cause some conversations at home, especially if mothers and daughters are watching it together. I just wanted to highlight the importance of reproductive rights on my channel, as I fear that the cases of what happened to Adriana Smith might become more common in the US, and I'm really worried about it. To wrap this video up, I want to highlight Center for Reproductive Rights. I use them as a source, and they do really incredible work to fight for reproductive rights in the US and worldwide as well. So you can go donate to them and learn more about them on reproductiverights.org. I hope you consider donating.